Hello and welcome to Elizabeth's Craft Room. Today we're going to be looking at something new from the Spring Summer catalogue from Stampin Up, and that is the Mini Treat Bag Thinlits dies. Now these make little bags. These are just so cute. But these dies have so much with them. You know, sometimes you just can't believe how much is included. So as well as the bits to make the bags, now I've put some magnets to hold my bits and pieces in place that are in here. And also, look, I draw underneath so I know what goes where. I've done that with a chalk marker from Stampin' Up, and it just shows me where everything is supposed to go. That one's supposed to go over there. So basically you've got these two pieces here which we're going to use to make our bag, and then you've got all of these other pieces as well. Now these can be used to make cutouts in the bag, which we are going to do today. We're going to make a heart cutout. These little pieces here, you can make little cutouts like this. Equally, you can make cutouts from strips. You can use these on cards, all sorts of things. We've got a little diddy bow. That's really sweet as well. The words we've got are for you and enjoy. And we're going to use for you today, but I've used the enjoy on that one there. And then these are kind of layers. This one's like a little banner, and this one's like a piece of washi tape. So absolutely loads and loads. Altogether there are 12 dies in this one pack. So we're going to do something slightly different today, but more along the lines of this one, which is a vellum pocket, because I just think the vellum looked really nice on this, and I wanted to try it with some of our new paper. Before I finish with this one, let me just quickly show you what I've used on here. So this is the Best Year Ever designer paper, the Best Year Ever ribbons, and these are beautiful quality ribbons. These are they're a freebie with the celebration that's on at the moment. There are matching buttons as well that I've used on there as well. So they're a freebie choice with celebration. Every time you spend £45 you get freebies, and that's one of the choices. So we're going to start off with some vellum. You're going to need a sheet of A4 vellum cardstock. You'll find that you can't quite get them on half a sheet, so you're going to need that full sheet cut in half. So let's get the Big Shot and run those through. Now my Big Shot is getting rather well used and old and very much loved. But I'm actually using a couple of shims with mine, and a shim, if you don't know, is just a piece of paper to make sure that you're getting a full cut. I found when I did this the first time, there's a couple of little places where it wasn't cutting all the way through. So I found that with two pieces of cardstock underneath, and some popping noises, that's okay, we're actually cutting through all the way on there. And you can see that's cut and it's also scored. Let's do the other piece now. And there are very fine tolerances on Big Shots. Some people need a shim when their Big Shots are brand new. Mine didn't, and they don't for most dies, but this particular one, they seem to need a sheet or two of paper underneath. So there we go, there's our other piece. So those are cut out. So while I've got the Big Shot here, I'm going to cut out my little greeting, and I'm going to do this in baked brown sugar. And the greeting I'm going to use is the For You. And I'm going to pop that on and run it through. And then finally, because I want a heart in the front of my bag as a cutout, I'm going to put that piece on that I have just cut. What I'll do is just fold along the score line that it has produced. It just makes it easier to see if you fold it. And now I've folded it, I can make sure I get this in the middle, or roughly in the middle. If you're very keen to get it exactly right, you can get take your ruler out at this point, but I'll just wing it. That looks about in the middle for me. So just pop that through. And as you can see, that's now cut a heart in what's going to be the front of my bag. So that's all my big shot work done, so let's pop that to one side. So to assemble the bags, now I'm just going to put a sheet of, let's put this pack of the baked brown sugar underneath so you can see a little bit easier against the, it's a bit difficult to see against the white. So I'm just going to reinforce those score lines again. And particularly with the vellum, a little reinforcing of those score lines is quite helpful. You fold them gently first, then you make sure you get them in the right position. And then we're going to stick these together. So one of the challenges when you are actually sticking vellum is not to see too much through. And what I didn't like when I stuck this, although using Tombow it can make it almost invisible, I didn't like that I still saw the shadow of that overlap through. So this is where some designer paper comes in. I'm going to pop a little piece of designer paper onto that piece there. So I'm using a little tiny bit of glue, really just a little smidgen. Put the end on there before I squeeze. And then using the spready end, did you know there was a spready end? You can really spread that very thinly. And this is going to go on here, if you can imagine, but I want my paper to be in front of it. So what I'm going to do is just to lay that in where this is going to be. And I'll come back to what the paper is in just a moment. I want to get this on first while the glue is still wet. So lining that up where I want it to be in the middle, I'm now going to put this together. So I'm just looking here at the top to make sure that's lining up, and I'm making sure I'm lining up down the side. And basically what that's doing is that's sticking to the paper, and therefore I'm hiding that little edge. There is a little bit of glue there, but I'm actually hiding that there's an edge there. So then what I'm going to do is to turn that over and put a little bit of glue along the back. Again, I'm going to spread that out. And you can see it's, you know, it's almost invisible, that glue now. And again, down at the bottom, it needs the top on to make that squeeze. There we go. And then spread that out as well. And then we've got our little vellum lined bag. Now, because I didn't glue it all over, you can put things in the front, but more likely because you've got the heart there, you're going to actually fill the back of that little vellum bag. So coming back to this paper, it is absolutely beautiful. It's called the Something Borrowed paper, and it's from the Spring Summer catalogue. And as you can see, perfect for weddings, but also because it's quite neutral, all sorts of occasions. It's Sahara sand and white in colour. Now there's some beautiful lace in the Spring Summer catalogue, and if I had that, that's what I'd be using, but I haven't got that yet. Did you hear that yet? So instead I'm using the vanilla seam binding ribbon. And I'm going to just put that across. What I'm going to do, not totally stick it with the snail, but it just helps to hold it in place while I'm tying it. So I'm just going to put a piece of that across there. And then a little piece onto there. Run that across. And that'll just hold it in place. And then I'm going to use some linen thread. Almost out of it on this reel. It's beautiful to use linen thread on everything, and it works so nicely with this kind of project. And just pop that right up there. And you can tie a knot, or if my fingers will do it on the video, we can tie a little tiny bow. Look at that, that's worked pretty well, didn't it? Just trim that off. pretty is that? So here's the little For You. Now it's got some little holes which we poke out, and also some little holes that help free it from the die. So we'll just pop those, if you just pop that through. I'm just using a little scoring tool, or you can use your pricking tool. Just watch your fingers if you're using the pricking tool. And as you can see, that pops out that little greeting. You can use tiny bits of edge to pop this up, I discovered, so I'll just show you that. So I'm just snipping a little bit off the edge of my dimensionals. Did you know what I meant by little bits of edge? And then we can actually, it's a little bit of a fiddle, but it's kind of worth it. I like the look of it when it's popped up. I'm going to pop that For You greeting up just there. And just to finish this, I think it's got to have pearls, hasn't it? It just looks as if it's calling out for a few pearls. So I think I'll just put Decisions. Oops. There we go. How pretty is that? Just gorgeous. Thank you for coming along to Elizabeth's Craft Room today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to welcoming you back soon.